FLOSSTUBE, it's Leigh from Creatively on Sunday the 2nd of November 2025 with FLOSSTUBE number 290. Welcome back to my weekly YouTube channel about counted cross stitch. 290, that's a lot. I'm also coming up to my 6-year anniversary, I think. I always forget the date and have to look it up. Sometime in November. Maybe the 13th, maybe the 22nd, maybe the 23rd. I don't know, sometime in November I would have been on YouTube for 6 years, which is amazing. I should have changed my glasses, but that's fine. These are the wrong ones for the looking at the telly, but that's fine. Yeah, happy to be back. I had a pretty just Joe average week, I think, although it was a short week because Monday was Labour Day, so we had Monday off, so that just meant trying to cram 5 days of work into 4. I was pretty knackered by the end of, I was pretty over it. It's not even knackered, I just was like fed up by the end of Friday. I was just, I know, I got sent a couple of, not curly questions, but a couple of questions quite late on Friday that required me to think, and I was just like, I actually don't have any brain cells left. I'm like, I need wine, I can't do this. But anyway, managed to make it through. I decided to pick up a wee start, which I'll show you at the end because it's quite special, and not work on any of my other projects, and picked up this little project that had been in the wings for a little while, and very happy with it, and I'll show you that at the end of my show and tell. And then, yeah, I don't even remember. And then after what I did after that, I think I went to bed early, like relatively early, and got a reasonable night's sleep, which is what I needed. So this weekend, Sunday, nearly almost midday, I've got a few, 4 things to show you today. I've also got a little bit of haul, which I actually pre-recorded because I got quite a bit come in during the week and I just didn't want it out. Like, I'm trying to keep my house a bit tidier and I just wanted to put everything away. So I actually pre-recorded that, so I'll do that shortly. I'm not going to do any past finishes today because I just don't have it in me to go rustle through my cupboards. And I guess a heads up that next week I will come to you with a video. It might be a little less formal, a little less formal than this, but I will be in Australia, so I'm over there for some family things. So flying over Wednesday evening, I think my flight leaves about 4 o'clock, but I am actually going via Auckland, so I fly up to Auckland about 2 o'clock, and then I think I fly to 4, just because I did not have it in me to fly out at, the only flight direct from Wellington during the week at the moment is like 6 a.m. Gonna sneeze. Don't know what it is about YouTube that makes me sneeze. I think it's just spring in me. Might need to up my anti-sneeze drugs. What do you call them? Antihistamine. So I didn't want to fly out at 6 a.m. I would have had to be at the airport at like 4, which meant leaving, Upper Hutt at 3. No. So I elected to fly via Auckland. So yeah, fly up to Auckland, which is like a 45-minute flight. I've got an hour or 2 up there. I'll take my work laptop and just do some work. Just a little bit of, admin-y kind of work in the afternoon, and then fly at about 4-ish, 4 something. So I arrive in Australia at like 5, which is like 8 p.m. New Zealand time, but in time for dinner anyway. So be there Wednesday, and I fly back late on Sunday, so I get back in at like 1 a.m. Monday, so Monday's gonna suck. By the time I get home to Upper Hutt, it's gonna be like 2:30. I will be grumpy on Monday, but to be fair, I'm always grumpy on Monday. So no one will notice any difference. But that's just how it is. I am technically on leave on Thursday, Friday, but I do have a couple of meetings I'll probably do on Thursday, which is going to kind of make up for the fact that I am a little bit absent on Wednesday. Like Wednesday afternoon, I'm not going to be my fully productive self, but I foresee myself working a little bit late on Monday and Tuesday because I've got so much to do. Anyway, so FLOSSTUBE on Sunday I'll do from my sister's house. So she's been stitching up a storm. She has stitched 2, I think she's completed 2 or 3 of the cross stitch junction New Zealand birds since I was last there, so which was end of June. So she has been stitching up a storm, and so I can show off a couple of those, and I'll take a couple of wee projects over. I'm not going to take any like 40 count projects over, but I'll take a couple of little projects over just to work on. I'm sure she'll do some stitching in the evening. We're busy Thursday, like Wednesday night will be a bit of a write-off by the time I get there, and I'm 3 hours, you know, in the future here in New Zealand, so I'll be staying up late but really tired. And then so Thursday night we've got plans, family plans, so it's only really Friday night and Saturday night that I'm there. Okay, so it'll be just a slightly disrupted, it'll be an unusual FLOSSTUBE, I should say. That's it, I think. I do have a giveaway, like I've drawn a giveaway at the end for Witching Hour, which I've drawn a name for that. So hang around at the end for that. And I think that's it for the random life catch-up stuff. We'll get into the stitching. Okay, so stitching, as I said, I do have a little bit of haul that's come in. I had a wee order from Helen at That Crafty Kiwi, and also my wee monthly packet of goodies from Catherine at Country Stitch. It's part of my Rainbow Club, and plus extras. So pre-recorded this early in the week, like Wednesday or Thursday, I don't remember when. So I'll just let Leigh from the past have a chat to you about that. Leigh here from the past, as per my introduction, probably, because I don't know, I haven't done it yet. I have a little bit of haul to show you, and I'm trying to keep things tidy, and it's kind of too much for me to leave out until Sunday. Today's Thursday. So I thought I'll just quickly do a little video to insert for next Sunday, and that way I can put some stuff away and not feel so overwhelmed. Okay, so I've got a mixture of a few things that have come in from That Crafty Kiwi, and just my monthly haul from Country Stitch. So they're not necessarily in any particular order, but a few things have been like ordered for a little while, so it's kind of quite exciting getting bits and pieces that I kind of forgot about. Okay, so from That Crafty Kiwi I got Phoebe and the Wee. This was a release a little while ago. I can't remember where I saw it, and then I'd been thinking about it for ages. I love the fact that it's a vertical sampler, and it's very, like, it's not a normal presentation of a sampler. So Phoebe Ann v. Wee, 1825. Yeah, reading 52 backwards does my head in. When was it published? It's from Needlework Press. 2024. So I might have seen it like at Market or some release last year. And I kind of had it in a wish list and then forgot about it. And then when I was ordering something recently, I just like said to Helen, can you get this for me? So I will probably change it. I'll change the initials to me twice. Some big eyelets and some four-sided stitch. But, you know, I'll change it to be me and stuff. But I just really like it. I don't know what colour, might do it in blue. This reproduction is charted for Blacksmith Blue, the majority of it, Classic Colourworks, and then a bit of Sassy Brass and a little bit of Spinach. There's a couple of other colours, so there's hard to see, but there's just some little colours and some little, you probably can't see it at the end of that. There's the brass colour. So there's not a lot of the other colour, so you definitely, I definitely wouldn't be buying 2 skeins of Fancy Floss for that, because you need 2 skeins of Blacksmith Blue. I'll just see what I've probably got in my overdyes and do that. Fabric wise, the model stitched on 36 count Fox and Rabbit hog bristle. I just had a look on my stash. I probably, so like the tone of this colour, Don't really care about the swatches, but I'll probably use this Grandpa's sleeve from Exterior Designs that I've had for ages. It's the rest of the fabric from when I stitched the red and the black 1 and 2. So I'll probably just use that because I love, I like the tone of that fabric. So consider that mostly kitted up. I don't know when I'll stitch it, but the chart was new. That's from my stash. Also from That Crafty Kiwi, I've got the second part of The Season in the Garden from Jeanette Douglas. So this is the summer section. I am going to wait till I get all 4 and then stitch them all together. And I'm going to probably kit this up largely from stash, although there is one colour that I might get, which is used all the way through, or a couple of colours. There's one, it's a Dinky Dyes Corunda, and it's the green that's used a lot in this border, and it's a really interesting colour. I don't really have a colour that kind of substitutes for that. So we'll see. The Glorianas and the Classic Colourworks Belsoir, the thread gatherers, largely I'm happy to substitute, but we'll use the DMC equivalent. But I'm just going to wait till I get all 4 parts and then make a decision. So I might buy like half a dozen of the variegated ones if I can't match them from my stash, and then the solid colours, like I'm not going to buy the whatever that thing is I just said before. I'm not going to buy the Glorianas or the Belsoir. I will, but yeah, I might grab the Rainbow Gallery Splendor Silk, and I might get the Dinky Dyes maybe. So we'll see, but I've, again, got 2 more parts to come. So I've already got fabric pulled for this large piece of something. And then, yeah, that'll be a project for the future. So it might be a start in 2026 or 2027. But anyway, that's the second part for that. And then also, I don't know where I saw this, on somebody's floss tube, I think. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get it. So I asked Helen if she'd get it for me. She said she had a copy for her. So she sent me, I think, her copy, and she's ordering it again for her. It's from Cosford Rise, and I just absolutely love it. And it's Cicadas Spring. And I think it might have been a market release that I just missed. It's a sampler that's absolutely chock block full of interesting things. I love the border. It's not a repetitive border. It's kind of quite random. All sorts of plants and foliage, and there's some animals in there, a butterfly and cicadas. It's Cicadas Song. Did I say that? Cicadas Song sampler. Don't know when I'll stitch it. It has the called for is 36 count vintage country mocha. I've pulled some fabric from my stash. I've got more than enough fabric here because it's a fat half. I picked this up from All Threads earlier this year. So I've got Milk and Honey by 36 count Milk and Honey by Fibre on the Whim. I think that'll be a nice, because I don't like vintage country mocha and I don't have any anyway. So I'll use that. It calls for GMC, Weeks Dye Works, Classic Colourworks, and one Gentle Arts, I think. But they do have substitutions for DMC. I don't know. I have some of those colours. I'll worry about it closer to. I don't know when I'll stitch it, but I have it and I love it. So I've got a few other big samples I need to finish. So they were the 3 charts I got from Helen at That Crafty Kiwi. And then I also got my wee package of delight from Catherine from Country Stitch. First up, I got, I'm not going to take them out, a couple of pieces of 28 count. I don't often stitch on 28 count, but I've got a sapphire green linen and just antique white, so some fat 8s of 28 count for this one, Just Nan Floral 15. The call for this was either 30 count White Swan Legacy Linen and Soft Willow Legacy Linen, or 28 counts Wygat Antique White and Mint Green. So but I said to Catherine, I just said a light green. So I've got those two. That's come bead pack. I bought this chart a while ago from Art and Frame. And I'll probably use DMC. It is charted for Overa Soie 103, which on 28 count, haven't opened it. I presume that you're using 2 strands because it's very thin. It does have a DMC conversion. I will either use a DMC conversion or I'll just substitute from silk from my stash. I'm sure I can work out some colours that will go with that. This is going to go into my box of smalls. It's not really that small. Box of smalls for 2020, for the year of smalls 2026. So consider that on the day I'll either pull DMC from my stash or just some silks from my stash. So I'm considering that all kitted up. So basically already had the chart that was in my haul. And then I've got some of the Overa Soie d'Alger. So there were 5 skeins there for this chart. So I've had this chart for a little while, inspired by my lovely friend Susie, who has stitched this Entrelac de Soie. So no, Entrelac Bleu, so blue, whatever the heck Entrelac stands for in French. It's from Le Fil de Soie. It calls for 5 Overa Soie d'Alger. So here are 3 of the colours, but 5 skeins. I still need a couple of skeins of 2 of the colours. So silk came, already had the chart, and I do have this kitted up at the moment. The called for 36 count. I don't think it says, sorry, flicking through. I know it's 36 count. It just had a colour as Wygat colour, 3009, whatever that one is. Anyway, I've got some 36 count Legacy Russian tea cake, so I'm going to use that for that. She's quite a big cushion when it's finished, so that will go. This is going to go into my year of smalls as well. Smalls is probably the wrong name for it, because not necessarily a small, but either a small or it's an off the wall finish, you know, as in it's a cushion. So I mean, it's quite big, but it's not like, how big is it? 198 by 198, so it's not small, but whatever. So silks were in my haul. Sorry about all the noise. And last but not least is this was my because the reason for an order is I rejoined Catherine's Rainbow Club for her hand dyed fabrics. I got a fat 1/8, I think, of Mithril, which is very dark. I don't love stitching on dark fabric, but you know, it's 32 counts, it shouldn't be too bad. This is going to be used for Witch's Road. So this is a chart I bought a while ago from Jessica Doise. What's her design? Doise Demos or Doise Demos, I'm not sure. She's on Etsy and or Gumroad. I can't remember which one I bought this from. Anyway, I bought this chart a while ago. I just love the colours and the geometrics and stuff. So I'm going to stitch it on Mithril. It is charted for some overdyed floss, DMC, Gentle Art, Classic Colour Works, Colour and Cotton. Can't get Colour and Cotton in New Zealand. Mostly Colour and Cotton, some Roxy floss. So really it feels like an invitation to use my stash. I also has some beads. Again, I'm going to have something in my stash I can use. It has some fuchsia beads and some mint beads. They are a smaller size, I think, size 14, 15. Is that petite? Because I think size 11 is the standard, like Mill Hill size, right? I will work it out. I'm stitching on 32 counts, so it'll be fine. See, I'll just use my stash. It has the DMC, and I'll just, whatever. I don't know when I'm going to stitch it, but I have the fabric now. Like, you can't start stitching without the fabric, right? Floss is kind of easy. So that was my other bit of haul and stuff. So at this stage, that's all I have. I'm not expecting anything else this week, so that's probably all that's coming. Anyway, I'll return you to your regularly scheduled program. Ciao. And you're back. So Leigh from the current saying thanks to Leigh from the past. As you can see, I couldn't just show you some shiny things, I had to show you the context for which those shiny things belonged. I have put everything away, yay. And now I should just show you what I've stitched on this week. No particular order, because I touched each of these things at least on 2 different days. So like during the week, I rotated a little bit through these 3 projects, apart from on Friday. So first up, just because it's on the top of my pile, is I picked up Real Comfort from Plum Street Samplers. This is my birthday start this year. I'm stitching it as a stitch along with the lovely Lizzie the Stitcher, and she is very close to having it finished. I think she was only working on back stitching. She left all the back stitching to the end. There's quite a bit of back stitching in the leaves in the middle panel. Mine is on the called for 36 count Saltbush linen. We are from Fox and Rabbit. We're both using the called for linen for this. She's using largely the called for fancy flosses. She may have made a substitution or 2 depending on how it showed up on fabric. I am using the Vicky Clayton hand-dyed fibres silk pack. So again, started on my birthday, aiming to get this finished before my birthday. I'm well over halfway, but I just sort of realised I kind of need to get a little bit of a wriggle on. So here we are. Ta-da! What did I stitch on since you last saw it? Well, I had the house done. So basically I've brought these from, I had up to that orange flower, not the greenery, and I had the same on this side, I think, up to that orange flower. So that there was partially in but not completed, that star. I had a little bit of I'm telling lies. That one was partially completed, that one was empty. So yeah, from this orange flower and from this orange flower, but most of above that has been stitched. So brought the vine up and got half the words in and started on the little things on the roof. Basically the wording is the same colour as that little bird, so I just started there, easier to count up from, 1 stitch below the roof. But yeah, I'm doing the little back stitchy for these little white flower buds. I'm doing little back stitches as I go, or long stitches really, and I'm really happy with it. So the top is about, the top of this border, the inner border, is about here, I think, and then it goes across. And then of course you got a little bit of border at the top. So I'm getting there. So definitely the majority done. So I just picked the green and I stitched the green vine up until I hit a flower where I don't want to have to count up, and then I fill in everything in the meantime and do both sides. As you can see, I hit that flower, so I got those flowers in, and then of course the green starts again, like with down there. So but then I just fill in everything below. It just helps it not get too boring, and don't know what else to say. Progress. So definitely keen to just keep chipping away at that over the next month or so. My red thread project, my red thread a day, which I have been a lot better this week stitching, well, multiple threads a day, but stitching on it most days, is Louisa Coulimore from Hands Across the Sea. I'm doing this as a stitch along with Narissa from Narissa Stitching Lifestyle and Judith. Narissa is this close to being finished. She was trying to finish it by Friday 31st, but she just didn't. I mean, if she was only stitching on that, she totally could have, but of course she is only doing hers like one or two threads a day in the mornings, and then she is working on 900 other things she wants to get finished by the end of the year. Same, if all of us just focused on this, I'm sure we could, but she should have it finished this week. She shared a picture this morning. She's so close. And Judith took hers with her to, she's away in the UK at the moment, and she is keeping up with hers most days as well, and she's making great progress. She's a little bit ahead of me, and I think she's aims to, and I think is 100% on track to finish it by Christmas. I've ramped up a little bit this week, so now that I know I'm not way ahead of the girls, I'm behind, which is fine with me. I sort of feel a bit of freedom to carry on. I have so many other red projects that I can pick up to keep going with the red thread a day. So I'm also looking to try and get this finished by Christmas. So mine is on 56 Grunard linen from the Wee Linen Company, which was a rack from my lovely friend Judith. And it was the first stash sample start on the 1st of August. So all three of us started on the 1st of August. And it is coming along really well. Can't remember what you saw last week. That is not what I want to do. But here we are. Ta-da! Just take a moment to, I'm using Gütermann silk. Did I say that? So it's like 103 weight. So all of this row and those little ones, basically because it was so easy to go up from the up between the 8 and the 9 and do that little row. Same over here, because the G was touching, it's easy just to get up there. That way you know you're lined up. So all of that row, and most of this row I did this week. I had done at least one letter. I had the K in, I think. So I think most of this row, all of this row, and that is all this week. So quite pleased with that. Reminder halfway is down here. Just about a third of the way down this S row is halfway. I've got about 8 alphabets to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 7.5 rows to go, or 8 rows including that one, but most of them are quite little, like 5 or 7 rows high alphabets. And my third whip, I carried on with October Bloom. So this is also, I'm doing an Artsy Housewife stitch along with my friend Christine down in Dunedin. She started Bun Bun, and she's making great progress on Bun Bun. And what's fabulous about stitching a stitch along with her is she goes rip, shit and bust as well. So I don't feel, the pressure to slow down. And I'm also keen to get this stitch this year. So here we are. Since when I showed this to you last, I had the pots in the grass, and yeah, I've stitched the main house, including all the vine work, and the leaves, and then obviously this morning I started on the roof. So I've got half of the roof done, the brown at least. There's a row of the diagonal lines in the same colour as the windows, which is called for is soot, and I'm using Anthracite by Tom and Lili. So I'm very happy with it. It's leaving all the big flowers till last, so keen to get the roof in, and then I get the greenery in for here, and then all I will have will be 1, 2, 3, 4 flowers, and whatever you call those. Oh, I guess they're flowers as well. So 6 flowers, but I'll be able to, kind of work around and do colour completion. So I'm showing my cards all out of order. I'm stitching this October Blooms by the Artsy Housewife. I have a lot of her charts. This is the first one I've actually stitched, which is very exciting because I just love her designs. I don't know why I haven't stitched any of them. 36 count Alabaster linen from Weeks Dye Works. I've got the wrong glasses on, so I can't read it. using largely an overdyed conversion. I am using a couple of DMC called for, and I'm using a couple of the called for colours that I had, tomato and one of the other colours. Got completely blank. And the rest of it is largely Tom and Lili, and I think the dark green is a Victorian motto. It's got a 16-yard skein of that. So happy with how that's coming along. Love the house. It was, yeah, I'm just really, it's such a joy to stitch. So really happy with that one. So those are the 3 whips that I worked on. And then as I talked about, I had a sneaky little start on Friday. Now, the reason why, so when I was putting all those bits and pieces away, I was also keeping an eye out for a chart. So ages ago, the lovely Narissa loaned me this chart. Well, I kind of ripped it out of her hands and said, God, I'd love to stitch that. So this is Time to Stitch by Needlework Press. So she had stitched this clock face up ages ago. And in her, I think it was last year when she went through her finish box, or things to be finished, she realised she had a clock, not either of these, but she had a clock she'd purchased a while ago, and this was basically just sitting for her to finish. So she was going through a bit of a finishing frenzy, good on her, and she finished it, having stitched it a long time ago. So I asked if I could borrow this chart, and she kindly lent it to me, but I didn't have a clock to stitch it in. So it's been sitting there waiting for me to stitch it, because until I found a clock, I didn't know what count fabric and stuff to stitch it on. So last weekend when I was visiting with my friend Tracy, she mentioned she had a thing she'd purchased, and I went online and I said, I want whatever that is. And it was on sale, and then I thought, well, I'll do a click and collect. So at her house, I thought, well, I can drive over to Bed Bath and Beyond, and pick it up on the way home, because there's a Bed Bath and Beyond in Upper Hutt. And then I thought, well, if I'm going to click and collect, I should have a quick look. So I'd be looking at a couple of their clocks. Anyway, they also had this clock down from I think from $100 down to like 40 or 45 or something, which I decided was a reasonable price, because I did want a working clock. Anyway, purchased the clock last weekend, and then it's sitting on my shelf, and I was like, on Friday when I found the chart, or last week when I found the chart in my to-do pile, I worked out the measurements and went, okay, I need 36 count linen. I went through my scrap basket and found a piece that would fit, and then picked a couple of flosses, and then on Friday night I just sat down and stitched it. It only took a couple of hours to stitch, because it's tiny, it's not that much, and I didn't need to stitch the hands because I was making it into a real clock. This is a Tim Holtz clock, so not actually a real clock. It's not a functioning clock, which I had looked at the Tim Holtz clocks when I was up in Ribbon Rose in January, but I wasn't convinced I wanted that kind of clock. Anyway, I wanted a working clock and not a nana clock. Anyway, so I found the clock, measured it, stitched the thing, and then yesterday morning I fully finished it. So yes, I'm going to show you in a minute. Time to Stitch, Needlework Press, 36 count up in the attic linen from Fox and Rabbit. So a piece and offcut in my basket of goodies. I used ink black because it was the first black I laid my hands on, and then I used a grey Tom and Lili Corbeau, which was a partial skein I had in my bag of tricks. What did I write down? A cheeky little SAF start and finish FFO using a clock from Bed Bath and Beyond, and I put chart borrowed from Narissa. So start and finish on Friday, 31st of October, and an FFO yesterday on the 1st of November, and couldn't be more happy. And it's keeping sort of good time. It might be a little fast Well, I might have not quite. Okay. So here it is. It's this metal brushed gold antiqued looking clock that stands on my shelf, and of course it's just a plastic front, nothing exciting on the back. Yes, it's about 1:45. Yep, sorry, 12:15. I'm looking at this the wrong way around. Yeah, 12:17. Oh yeah, it's about rightish. So there it is, and I just picked this fabric because out of my stash, because I figured that kind of darker colour would go nice with the gold, and the Roman numerals are in the grey, and then I just I did actually stitch a little bit a circle of black, not quite as big as what the chart is, but I knew that this washer, when you took the hands off, like disassembled it, took the hands off it, there's this washer that sits behind this nut that screws on to hold, I don't know what it holds on, like, because the paper underneath it was just glued on, and it meant that when I cut a hole in it to poke through, it would be a bit reinforced. I just carefully taped it over a thin piece of card. I couldn't use a thick piece of card or finish it really well at the back, but I'm happy with it. It's a little bit skew, but don't look too close. And yeah, I'm just really happy with it. It's the time to stitch, as my friend Susie says. I think it was Susie. Oh, I won't ever be too late to stitch, will I? So I've got a picture of just where it's sitting on my shelf at the moment. So I've just got like one of my little shelf areas on my bookshelf has some red things in it, and I've just got it nestled behind. And you can see might be able to partially see the three monkeys. So that was actually what I originally went to order. So I kind of am collecting those, I guess. I've got 3 sets now, so 3 sets makes a collection. I did have a set of elephants, but I gave them to my sister. My sister gave me a set of monkeys for my 50th, I think, and I picked up another little set of kind of really heavy, they're like wrought iron / brass ones, and then I've got the gold ones. So my friend had the gold ones, and I went, oh my god, where'd you get them from? She said Bed Bath and whatever. I said, well, I don't want to pay full price, and they were on sale, so clicked and collect. And anyway, it makes it a nice little vignette there. So that was my cheeky little FFO, SAF / FFO, and I'm really happy with it. So it's going to sit on my shelf. I'm taking this back to Narissa. It's not something I can pass on, so I will give that back to her in the new year when I see her down at the Christchurch retreat. The only other thing I've got to do is do a wee giveaway, so thank you. Not too many people were interested in this. I get that it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I asked for the word witch. I did a quick random comment thingy before the video, and congratulations, Patient Genie. Anyway, there's your comment. Mention the word witch, highlighted. So yeah, thank you for your support, and I'm glad you enjoyed the video. I would like you to send me your contact details, postage details, please. My email's in the doobly-doo below, but it's leibling1919 at gmail.com. That's my socials email. So if you send me your name and address, then I can get this into the mail to you. Probably not till I get back from Australia. Also, I want to say thanks to Lynn Davison. Last week I gave a call out that I hadn't heard from her for the Bella giveaway. I did hear from her, so thank you, Lynn. I've got that packaged up ready to go. Hope you're feeling better. And I just need to get to the post shop, which, as you well know, it's not as easy to find a post shop in New Zealand these days, so I will get there eventually. Maybe this week. Hopefully this week. That's it, I think. Yeah, no time to give you any past finishes. They'll be in the cupboard for next time or the time after. I want to say thank you for coming along. I appreciate you, and I look forward to catching up with you next week, even if it is from Australia, where I'll be probably hot and grumpy because I don't like the heat. In the meantime, take care, and as always, don't let your needles rust. Ciao.